So today we're going to take a look at the Vortex SPARC red dot sight. The Vortex is what is called a micro dot sight. It's a very small little red dot sight, and it's relatively new to the market, and its competitors would obviously be companies like EOTech, Aimpoint, and even Bushnell and companies like that. Its price point is such that it actually comes in quite a bit lower than the big names like EOTech and Aimpoint. Its full retail is $199, so it's a very competitively priced scope. So let's take a look at it in a little bit further detail today. So the first thing that we'll notice about the Vortex SPARC is that it's a very small red dot. Here I have in my hand a Comp M2 Aimpoint, and this is one of my favorite optics. I've had this particular sight about 6 years. But as you can see, the SPARC is quite a bit smaller. Now the SPARC has many of the features that the more expensive Aimpoint has, and Aimpoint's come out with a micro red dot itself. It's called the H1 and the T1, but those scopes those optics are actually priced pretty expensively. They're in the $500–600 range, and as I mentioned, this is a $199 optic. So the features that this little optic has that compete with the Aimpoint is it does have a night vision setting, it has a fully adjustable range of brightness settings, and it has an easily replaceable, user replaceable battery. The dot is a 2 MOA dot, so it's a relatively fine dot that does very well out in bright sunlight, snowy backgrounds, or on overcast days like today. One of the complaints that people have about these smaller red dot sights and the fact that they use the 2032 battery is that it doesn't have a bright enough dot for all applications. I've not had that problem with this Vortex SPARC. This dot has a nice bright, this optic has a nice bright dot no matter what the daylight conditions are. So I really like that. I want to show you guys the controls of the optic. First of all, we have a power button. And this little power button, you just push it. You don't have to hold it down. You just push it and release it. That turns the optic on. To turn the optic off, you push and hold this button for 4 or 5 seconds, and that will turn the optic off. The reason you have the delay, obviously, is so you don't accidentally knock the sight off while you're carrying it around. On the rear, we have 3 buttons. We have, on the top button, this little arrow is to increase the brightness. The lower button decreases the brightness, and this button marked NV is for night vision. If you click that night vision button, it will set it so that the optic can be used with, AEM5 14 optics and things like that. So that's one of the features that are usually reserved for the more expensive optics, like on EOTech and Aimpoint, and those are features you pay extra for on those optics. So $199, this becomes a pretty attractive option. So let's take a look and see how this optic does. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of shooting with this optic and show you guys how it works, although you can't really see what I'm seeing. I'll try to describe as best I can how this optic feels and what I'm seeing through the optic. Now, I do want to mention, and I'll get into more detail about this a little bit later in the video, this optic comes with a whole host of bases and ways to attach it to your rifle. And that's kind of a nice feature. When you buy a Comp M2, you have to buy a ring separately, like this arms mount that I have on here is something I paid like $70 for. And that's kind of, adds to the cost of the optic. This optic comes with several different mounting options in the box for the $199 price. I really like that. So let's take a few shots and shoot a group, and then we'll talk a little bit more about how this sight performs. So let's run down range and make sure we got this optic zeroed, and then I'll talk a little bit more about how durable this sight is. Okay, so here we are at 50 yards. Now here's a group that I fired just to make sure that the sight's zeroed. Just fired a quick group, and you can see that it's pretty much in the black. So that's to be expected. I'm shooting M193 ball, which is 55 grain, out of the ACR, which has that 1 9" twist barrel if you watch my other videos. So anyway, not bad. We got it zeroed, so let's go back and do a little bit of testing and see how well that optic holds zero when we do some things that maybe you don't expect. So one of the things that you want to pay for in an optic, and you kind of expect, even at a $200 price point, is how durable is that sight? How does it react to unexpected things, and how well does it hold zero? You might trip, you might fall, you might have an accident where the rifle gets jarred around in an unexpected way. When you buy an Aimpoint, which is a military grade scope, or an EOTech, you expect it to be able to withstand a little bit of abuse and maintain zero. And they do. but they also cost 3 times as much. Let's see how well this rifle holds zero now. So let's fire this rifle after we've dropped it on the ground a few times. You can still see the mud on it, and see how well it maintains zero. Run down range. Well, it looks like that optic held zero just fine. For $199, the fact that little optic can take some abuse and still maintain zero is pretty impressive. So I would say that, you know, you could probably be fairly rough on this optic and depend on it. Now, I'm going to keep that optic on the ACR. I'm going to shoot it quite a bit more this summer, and you'll see it in some more videos. But my gut tells me it's going to hold zero, and it's going to be a pretty good little dot. So the optic has adjustments like you would expect on most, you know, scopes or red dot sights. I'm unscrewing the cover to the elevation. You'll notice they have a nice rubber-coated wire that holds the covers on. There's one on the top and one on the side just behind the battery compartment, which sits here. They're made out of metal and they're nicely gnarled, so you don't really have to struggle to get them on and off. They also seal nicely to keep the elements out. They have little O-ring seals on the base to keep moisture out. Now they're clearly marked with a right and an arrow, and then on the top it has up and an arrow, so it's clearly marked. Also, it's nice that every time you make a turn, it makes a very positive click. So when you're making adjustments to the optic, you can count your clicks. All right, so this little optic is weatherproof. You can see that it has a rubber seal around the controls. It does have a threaded front bezel here, so you can actually screw in different accessories, including like a kill flash ARD, which, as you can see, it's kind of a bright red reflective surface there, which is similar to what you would see on a name point. And that's because that reflective surface is necessary for the optic to work. It's what the actual LED reflects off of. When you look through this little optic, you know, when you look through some of the cheaper red dot scopes that you can pick up online, when you look through them, they had this bluish, greenish tint to the optic, to the glass, to the clarity. And it really, you know, that's just kind of bad, cheap optics. When you look through this optic, it's nice and clear, and it looks just like it does when you're looking through a Comp M2, a Comp M3, or Comp M4 aim point. So the optics, the glass, is very good on this little guy. It's nice and small. There's not a whole lot of stuff around it. Like if you take a look at a Comp M2, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on around it. When you look through this little tiny red dot, there's not a whole lot of stuff around it. There's nothing to really distract you. All you see is that dot, and you have a nice clear field of view that's unobstructed of the target area. I do like that. So it has decent optics, comes with a lot of accessories. The controls are easy to access. When you're shooting, you can just reach up and adjust your brightness, or you can turn it off or turn it on. So everything's easily accessible from the firing position. So I would say that the controls are nice. The size of the optic is nice. It's comparable in size to the new aim point micro dot, like the T1 micro. So it's, you know, very competitive size-wise. Glass clarity, optics clarity, I would say are on par with that. And even the dot brightness. The durability, I don't know. Probably give the edge to the aim point just because they have that reputation. But so far, I would say that this is a very durable sight. Overall, the features of this optic are very good. And for $199, I'm going to buy a few more. I really like this little guy. So as you guys can probably tell, I like this sight. I think it's a great value for the money. It's durable, has all the features you'd expect from a more expensive optic. It's good kit. I like it. Now, it comes in this box packaged with everything that you see here. The optic, this riser mount that we have mounted here on the ACR. It also comes with a couple other different mounting options. It comes with all the hardware you need to mount the optic to the various base plates and such. Comes with a nice little scope cover. It keeps it clean and protected. And it also comes with this 2x magnifier that just screws into the back of the sight. Has a little O-ring seal. You screw this down. It magnifies your image by 2 times. Now, it's a very narrow field of view, and you know, it does a little bit of fish bowling around the edges, but it works, it's neat. I don't know how much I'll use it, but it's nice that they throw that in. It's a cool little option. Now, I did buy this optic from Brian at Three Rivers Precision. Brian is a Military Arms channel watcher. He also comes by our Facebook page, and he's giving very good deals to Military Arms channel viewers, both Facebook users and YouTube viewers. If you swing by his website at threeriversprecision.com and enter the promotional code if you buy anything on his website, he's giving you a 5% discount and free shipping on anything over 99 bucks. And then on this particular unit, if you enter the promotional code MACSPARC, that's M-A-C-SPARC, enter that promotional code and you'll get some very special pricing on this little optic. You'll be hard to beat that pricing anywhere else on the internet. So swing by, check him out, good people. And if you have any questions about this optic or anything else, feel free to post those questions to the YouTube channel or the Facebook page. And the Facebook page can be accessed at Facebook/MilitaryArms. Swing by, check us out. We got some cool behind-the-scenes videos and still images, and also it's a great venue for you guys to give us feedback on the channel, give us some ideas, and chat with the Military Arms crew. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll talk to you guys soon.